Hello students, this is the 38th lecture in linear algebra, and in this video lecture we will be discussing an introduction to inner product spaces. So let me define what is an inner product space. Fine. So the definition of inner product space says we will consider V be any vector space over the field F and mostly I will be considering the field to be either reals or complex, right? So an inner product is a map, right, generally denoted by this symbol, right? Fine. And which is a map which is defined from V cross V, where V was a vector space, to the field F. Now when this map will be said to be an IPS if it satisfy the following axioms, satisfying the following axioms. So there are certain axioms which it needs to be satisfied, and we will be considering few examples even to understand this. So what are the following conditions or axioms? So the first axiom is, if you take any alpha beta from field and if you compute this value, that is inner product of alpha u1 plus beta u2 and with the inner product of v, so this comes out to be alpha times u1 comma v is inner product plus beta time the inner product of u2 comma v. Fine with this? So for all alpha beta coming from the field and u1 u2 coming from the vector space v, so that is the first property. Moving on to the second property, which says that if you take the inner product of u comma v, or if you take v comma u, so they are the conjugate of each other, right? So that is for all uv coming from the vector space v. The third property is the inner product of u and u will be is always greater than or equal to 0, right? And this is equals to 0 if and only if u equals to 0. So if my map satisfy these properties, then I will say that v equipped with this inner product is a inner product space, is called an inner product space. So I'll be generally denoting it with IPS. And sometimes one more property is also mentioned in the books, and that property is that is u comma alpha v1 plus beta v2, right? And the inner product of u with this alpha u1 plus beta v2, so it is generally given to me as alpha conjugate into u comma v1 plus beta conjugate into IPS of u comma v2, right? And this property is also known as that is a conjugate linear in second, so conjugate linear in second coordinate. So you can easily see that it is a conjugate linear in the second coordinate. Fine with this. And of course alpha and beta, they are coming from field, and u v1 v2, they all are coming from capital V. Actually, why I have not mentioned this property in above, because this property can be easily derived. How it can be derived? So that if I take u comma alpha v1 plus beta v2, can I write it down as this is nothing but alpha v1 plus beta v2 comma u and the inner product of these two vectors conjugate? Because we know that because u comma v IPS is equals to v comma u, right, IPS conjugate. So using this property above. Fine with this. And now what I can do, now again from the property 1 I know that split these terms, so this will come out to be alpha conjugate, right, inner product of, so that is a v1 conjugate comma u conjugate. Fine with this. Then in between it will be plus beta conjugate into IPS of v2 conjugate comma u conjugate. Now again applying the property of conjugacy, so that is, so this can be written as the v1 comma u IPS whole conjugate, right? And similarly for this one, this can be written as v2 comma u whole conjugate. And now again applying this property, so applying star, so what you will get from here is that is u comma v1 plus beta conjugate into IPS of u comma v2. And that's why I have not mentioned this property 4, but sometimes it is referred in the book, so no need to get confused. So this property can be easily derived. So that was all about the definition of inner product space. Now let us move to some examples of inner product spaces. So the first example which I will be considering in today's lecture is that V is nothing but, so V is a vector space of all the set of complex valued continuous function in C01. So that is this, right? So now let me define the inner product between any two functions as integration from 0 to 1 f into g conjugate with respect to dt. Now this is also referred as the standard inner product. So this is standard inner product in case of continuous functions. So this is sometimes referred as a standard inner product, right? And now what I need to check is that whether it satisfy all the axioms. So let us see here. So alpha times f1 plus beta times f2 inner product with g. Fine with this. Now apply the definition. So what will be the definition? That is, this is nothing but the integration from 0 to 1. What is my f? Here f is nothing but alpha f1 plus beta f2, right? And now multiply with g conjugate. So g conjugate into dt. Fine with this. Now you can easily split the integration, right? So 0 to 1 alpha f1 g conjugate dt plus 0 to 1 beta f2 g conjugate dt. Fine with this. So now you can take alpha to be outside, that is 0 to 1 f1 g bar g conjugate dt plus 0 to 1 beta you can take outside, so this is f2 into g conjugate dt. Fine with this. And this is nothing but my inner product of f1 with g, and this is nothing but my inner product of f2 with g. So I hope the first property is clearly satisfied. Now moving on to the second property. So what was my second property? That is uv inner product is equal to vu whole conjugate inner product. So that was the property. So let us compute the value here. So we know that f comma g inner product is nothing but 0 to 1 f into g into dt, right? With this g conjugate. And now just what I will do from here is, can I write it down like 0 to 1, just observe this thing very carefully, f conjugate into g whole conjugate. So can I do this thing? So if you just check it out, so f conjugate into g, right, whole conjugate. So this is nothing but f conjugate into g conjugate, and this double conjugate gives us nothing but again f. So this is f into g conjugate. So I am writing f into g conjugate like this. So I hope this step is clear to you now. Now in place of this, thing, what can I write in the next step? Can I write it down that this is nothing but my inner product of g with f, and this conjugate will also come. So finally what I did is that I proved that f comma g inner product is equal to g comma f whole conjugate inner product. So and hence the second property also gets satisfied. So moving on to the third property. So the third property is inner product of f comma f, that is given to me as 0 to 1 f into f conjugate into dt. Now we know that f into f conjugate is nothing but modulus of f square. So this is modulus of f square dt, and this is a positive quantity. Fine. Why? Because this gives us the area under the curve, that is the integration, and modulus, so this will always be a positive quantity, right? And when it will be 0, so the last thing, that inner product of f with f will be 0, that was if and only if. So what does this mean? Inner product of f, that is 0 to 1 modulus of f square into dt is 0, and this is only possible if and only if my f is 0, and hence my map, this map is a inner product space. Now let us move to another example. Now I will be considering the vector space of m cross n matrices, right, over the field f, and entries are basically from the field f, and again which is defined over the field f. And how I have defined the inner product between the two matrices, that is nothing but the trace of b theta into a. So this is nothing but my standard inner product. So this is a standard inner product in case of matrices. Now somebody can ask me that how can you define such, or what is the motivation behind defining this thing. So one thing is very much clear. While defining the inner product spaces, what I have done, I have taken v cross v2 f. So how I can, multiply the two matrices and reach up to a scalar, right? That is the main task which I can do. So from matrices you can go to a scalar either from the concept of determinant, right, or from the concept of a trace. But you cannot use determinant in this case. Why? Because again determinant is not a linear, so this is not linear, but we need a map which is always a linear map. So that is why the motivation behind taking the trace is that it satisfies the linearity. So I hope this thing is very much clear to you, that what is the motivation behind defining this map. Now let me check that whether this map satisfy all the axioms of inner product spaces. So let us see the proof of this. So what is my first axiom? So the first axiom will be, if I take alpha times a1, right, plus beta times a2 inner product with any vector b, right? So sorry, any matrix here. So that is, what is the definition? The definition is, it is trace of b theta into a. So can I write it down? That is trace of b theta into a. Now what is my a in this case? That is alpha a1 plus beta a2. Fine with this? Now can I split it down? Yes, because trace always satisfy the linearity. So this is beta. Now since my trace satisfy the linearity, so I'll just split the term. So this will be b theta into alpha a1 plus trace of b theta into beta a2. Fine with this? Now you can take the constant to be outside. So this is alpha time trace of b theta into a1 plus beta times trace of b theta into a2. Now if the properties of trace are not clear, you can watch my previous video lectures for this. I have explained the properties of trace in very detail. So now this is nothing but the definition of IPS. So this is alpha times the inner product of a comma b, right? So to be more precise, a1, and similarly this is nothing but the inner product of a2 comma b. So the first property gets satisfied. Now let us check the second property. So the second property was that if I take the inner product of a comma b, so this should come out to be equal to b comma a whole conjugate IPS. So this should be the case, right? So now let me take the left hand side. So what is my left hand side? That is a comma b IPS. Now what is the definition of IPS of a comma b? That is nothing but the trace of b theta into a. Fine with this? Now again on the similar concept, can I write this b theta into a as a theta into b again whole theta? Fine with this? Now why? Because if you just, you can go back from here, that is a theta into b whole theta. So this will give me that a theta again theta into b raised to power theta, right? Or what is this? Now this is nothing but a, and this is my b theta. So both of these things are equal. Fine with this? Now what I can do from here, what I can say from here is, since there is a property in matrices, so I am writing the property. So using a property, that is trace of p raised to power theta, this is nothing but trace of p, and then you take the conjugate. So I'll be using up this property here. So this gives me that the trace of a theta into b whole conjugate. So that property I will be using up here, and this is nothing but my inner product of b with a. Fine with this? So I hope this thing is now very much clear, and again the conjugate will be there. So what I have proved, that ab IPS is equal to the ba whole conjugate IPS. So this property is, I think, clear to you. Now moving on to the last property, that is a comma a IPS. So how it is defined? It is defined as the trace of a theta into a. Now what is my claim? My claim is, this is nothing but double summation. So this is nothing but my double summation running over I and j, and this is nothing but aij modulus whole square. And if this is equal to this, now we know that this thing is a square of something which is always going to be greater than or equal to 0. And moreover, this thing will be equal to 0, that is a comma a IPS will be equal to 0, right, if and only if my a is 0. So and hence all the properties are satisfied. But the main thing behind here is that how the trace of a theta into a is my modulus of aij whole square. So I can just simplify this expression for you, and I can consider a 2 cross 2 matrix for this. So if I am considering a 2 cross 2 matrix, so that is a11 a12 a21 a22. fine with this. And if I take a theta, so that how it will be a11 conjugate, a21 conjugate, a12 conjugate, right, and a22 conjugate. So how do you do the a theta? So what are the steps? So you just need to take the conjugate and then you take the transpose. So if you take the conjugate, this will be a12, this will be a21 conjugate, this will be a22 conjugate. Now take the transpose, and on taking the transpose, will I get this matrix? Yes, I will get this matrix. So this is my a theta. Now my task is to calculate the value of a theta into a. Fine with this. So you can easily see what is my a theta, that is a11 conjugate, a21, right, a12, a22, and what is my capital A, that is nothing but a11, a12, a21, a22. Now what is my next step? I have to just multiply, but what I am interested is I am interested in calculate the trace of a theta into a. So I'll be just calculating the diagonal entries. I am least interested for the other two entries. So for the diagonal entries, this will be a11 conjugate into a11 plus a21 conjugate into a21, and similarly the last one will be a12 conjugate into a12 plus a22 conjugate into a22. Now we know that this is nothing but the modulus of a11 square, right, plus a21 modulus whole square plus a12 modulus whole square and plus a22 modulus whole square. So that is nothing but my trace of a theta into a. So that was in case of a 2 cross 2 matrix. So what I have done, I have just taken the modulus of each entry and then I have squared it and added all the entries from the matrix A. So in general, what I will be saying is, for any matrix, so the trace of a theta into a will be the modulus of aij whole square, and where I and j will vary, and hence this is always greater than or equal to 0. So I hope this it satisfies all the axioms, so and hence it forms an IPS. Now, the third case, the third question for the day is, if I am considering the vector space that is over Fn over F, right? So, you can easily check that if I take the inner product between any two vectors, that is u comma v, it is given to me as a trace of v theta into u. Fine. And you can go back and you can check all these properties. What is my u here? I will like to tell you that what is my u is basically u1 u2 and so on to u, and that is a n cross 1 matrix, right, and where ui's are coming from this F. Fine with this. So this is my u vector. So sometimes this is written as v theta into u. Now why this thing is written in the books? Because if you take v theta into u, so if you just multiply this, so what is my v theta? So you can easily observe what is the dimension of a u vector. So this is nothing but n cross 1. Fine with this. So n rows and 1 columns. What about v theta? That will give me 1 cross n. So on multiplying v theta into u, so that will be a vector which is of order 1 cross 1. Fine with this. And 1 cross 1 means if you take the trace of any 1 cross 1 thing, that is nothing but the element itself. So that is why sometimes in books it is written as trace of v theta into u is equal to v theta into u itself. And again, on very similar lines as I have proved the second result, you can easily compute this value and you can check that this is a inner product space. So I hope the definition of inner product spaces and the three examples which I have discussed in this video lecture is clear to you. And even if now you face any difficulty, you can mention your doubts in the comment box. Thanks for watching the video lecture. For more such video lectures, do share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.